Our Tennessee state standard for today is to perform operations with numbers expressed in scientific notation, including problems where both decimal and scientific notation are used. Use scientific notation and choose units of appropriate size for measurements of very large or very small quantities. For instance, use millimeters per year for seafloor spreading. Interpret scientific notation that has been generated by technology. Your lesson objective today that you need to pause the video and write down is to rewrite an equivalent form of a number in scientific notation by changing the coefficient and the exponent. And so while you're writing that, this is just a lead up lesson to adding and subtracting, which we will do tomorrow. And with addition and subtraction, when you're adding and subtracting in scientific notation, your powers of 10 have to be the same. So today's lesson is just learning how to change those powers to get ready for addition and subtraction. All right, so as we talked last week, if we wanted to write this number, 37.5928, in scientific notation, the decimal would need to come after the first natural number. So we would write it 3.75928 times 10. Well, did we make our number bigger or smaller? We actually made the number smaller, so since we made the coefficient or first factor smaller, we need to make the exponent bigger. And since we made it one smaller, we'll make the exponent one bigger. So what would happen if we wanted to write the number as 0.375928? Well, let's just see. 0.375928 times 10, and we have made it smaller by one place, so we have to make the exponent bigger by 1. So based on what we learned about coefficients and exponents, where if we make the coefficient bigger, we have to make the exponent smaller. If we make the coefficient smaller, we have to make the exponent bigger. Complete the following chart. So 4.359 times 10 to the 4th. If we want to write it as 435.9, how many places bigger? How many places did we have to move the decimal? Well, we moved it from after the 4, we moved it 2 places over, so we made it 2 places bigger. Therefore, we need to make that 4, that exponent, 2 smaller. So that would make it 2. All right, for B, 7.6215, we want to write it as 76, so we're making it 1 place bigger. Therefore, we need to make the exponent of -3 1 smaller. Be very careful with exponents, because if we want to make it 1 smaller, it's going to be -4. 3.258 times 10 to the -5. We have actually moved the decimal place. We have made it smaller by 2 places. So we need to make the exponent bigger by 2. So -5 plus 2 is -3. 5.7 times 10 to the -1. We're changing it to 0.57. So we're making it smaller by 1 place. We'll make -1 bigger by 1, which would make it 0. Now let's try the other way when we change our exponent first. If we make our exponent go from 2 to 3, we make it bigger by 1, we need to make the coefficient smaller by 1. So that would be 0.2. We want to change from 10 to the 6th to 10 to the 4th. We make our exponent smaller by 2. We have to make our number bigger by 2 places. 1, 2. So we want to go from -4 exponent to -5. We're making our exponent smaller by 1. We'll have to make our coefficient bigger by 1. And finally, 3.95 times 10 to the -1, and we're going to change it 10 to the 1st. That's actually a difference of 2. We're making our exponent 2 bigger, so we'll need to make our coefficient 2 smaller. For each of the following pairs of numbers, the exponents are different. Show both changes that could be made to make the exponents the same. Okay, so if we want to change the top one to have the same exponent 5 as the bottom one, so we make our exponent 2 bigger, we have to make our number 2 smaller. If we want to change the bottom to be 10 to the third, we've made our exponent 2 smaller, so we need to make our coefficient 2 bigger. All right, if we change the top one to have an exponent of -8, that means we have made the exponent smaller by 1, so we have to make the coefficient bigger by 1. And if we change 3.32 times 10 to the -8 to have an exponent of -7, we're making the exponent 1 bigger, so we have to make the number 1 smaller. And that is the end of the lesson, and I've missed you today, and I will see you tomorrow.